Hello, welcome back to Sprouted Dreams. This week, I just felt like making a one-of-a-kind piece. And so the easiest one-of-a-kind piece to do, rather than taking a unique sort of branch and trying to fit the door in and hinging it and everything, although these are spectacular pieces and I do make most of my doors functional, sometimes it's just kind of fun creatively to let your mind go and make a non-functional door. So I have a base and a frame. I've been working on making a kit that will be like a DIY project for this Christmas, and this is one of the door ideas I have. But I also have this one that was a different door that didn't quite work out, but it could be something. I have some unique pieces of wood and some laser cut pieces and some 3D mushrooms here and a little leaf. So let's just kind of see what we have. I also have some stones here, and I have some fool's gold and some glass beads. I don't know. We're gonna do something. So this is kind of in my head of how I'm going to make it for the kit now that I look at this. So that's kind of stopping me creatively. So if you find a piece that you thought really inspired you and then you're just like, nah, that just doesn't speak to me, go ahead and set it aside and leave it for another day. So I kind of liked this blue butterfly and it made me grab this glass bead. That looks way too... This butterfly looks too big. Maybe an orange. No, I think those are both too big. I would need a bigger door. Maybe one of these smaller little button butterflies. Maybe that would go. And then maybe some sort of wood frame around it like this. That's interesting. And then we could just put kind of a stone doorknob. Well, that's not bad. That's a decent idea. So we'll kind of set that aside and leave that as an option. I also have these super cool, these are actually marble pieces that are cut. I have them in so many shapes. I found boxes of these, and so I don't know. That might be... I have some round mirrors. Maybe if I put the mirror on the back and then one of these on the front, maybe a little bit larger. You're probably not supposed to tear these off, but I figure I'm going to be applying them to houses and doors. So if I'm not supposed to tear these off, you can let me know in the comments, but tear away I go. I'll just sand that off. Maybe I'm thinking of the mirror behind there, perhaps. Or maybe I kind of make the sign stick out. Let's keep looking. I had this. Oh no, I had that other piece. Look how nice that looks. I had this one here. I wonder if this would work. It does. It works the other way. Look at that. Ooh. Well, I really like that. That kind of makes the whole door a different shape. And then we could do something in here. How about some of these little laser cut pieces? Maybe like that. That's pretty. All right. I think the butterfly is getting kicked out. That's interesting. That is very interesting. These are just kind of little pieces that broke off of other projects, but again, if you have any kind of wooden pieces where you maybe buy them as like a button like this, or you get a different laser cut piece, you know, that someone else did, just never throw away the little pieces that break, because they could be used in other... Well, I don't like that. But you can use them in other designs. Ooh. How about that? Kind of a floral design and maybe a little stone there. Where'd that stone go? Maybe Something like that. Ooh, maybe. Gee, I really like that. I bet I could find an even better stone for in there. I just don't have one handy. But if I go outside, I bet you I could get an amazing stone for that. All right, this is a huge option. I really like this. Let's also... So did we discard the butterfly idea then? Maybe. I think so. This is more me. I struggle with too much color because it doesn't look like something the fairies would have made, in my opinion. Ooh, look at the piece of... Wow, that looks super cool like that. Maybe we'll put a little piece of lichen there. Or an acorn cap. How about that? Oh, that's it. Okay. That is a huge option. I'm having so much fun. Let's try another idea. Or we could put one of those little round circles there. Oh, no. Maybe a different color. I'll come back with some other marble pieces and that little mirror. Okay. I could not find one of the mirrored pieces, but I found some black circles that might be interesting. The house is making tons of noise today because I don't know if you can hear the wind actually outside. It is blowing like mad, but it's also kind of warm. It's not like hot, but it's warm, so I need the windows open. So you are definitely going to hear the wind. I like that, but not as much as the stone. All right, not excited about that. How about one of these? I found some really nice stones. We have beautiful stones around here. Maybe that would work. Kind of covers that one up. Maybe something a little bit like that. There's a good idea. Ooh, that's nice. I love this stone. It's amazing. But it doesn't really... Well, maybe that one will work. How about that? That could work. That could work. This is amazing, but doesn't really go here. No. Unless I do this stone here and then have these come off the sides. That's not bad. I like this. This is a nice shape. I brought some other wood pieces as well. Oh, that's... no. How about this one? Nope. Well, maybe. That's kind of nice because it's a bit smaller. That's going to be too small. This one... Ooh. It doesn't really fit, though. Okay. I think this was the best one. Well, maybe that one. Hey, maybe that one. No, because then it doesn't balance. This one is larger, and I really like this one. So I think we are sticking here. And I think the color in there throws me way off. I think we're going to stick with this. And these. And maybe some lichen. No. I think a little acorn cap. Either like this. Nope. I think like that. Or a stone. I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't really matter too much right now. I have this little sign here I thought was real cute. But I think we're kind of discarding all of these ideas over here and the butterflies. I was kind of eyeballing this piece here, but then I would have to build up both sides. Well, that's not bad. I'm just trying to kind of carry you through my selection process so that you'll be able to go out and make your own selection. Ooh, that... All right, that does look nice, but it's a... maybe. Then the door's gonna need something. How about something like this? And Well, then I'm ruining this great stick. Let's stick with the one that I thought was so magnificent. This stone, these pieces, and where's that piece of wood? I liked this one, yes. And I think it was this one. Okay, these are what we're doing. So we'll clear out the other stuff. Even though I brought these way cool other stones. It doesn't really go for what I'm going for today. And maybe those will end up over here or something. Another day, another project. So what I'm going to do is cut these sticks down, and I'll show you how I get these fitted so that the door looks like a door that would open, even though this is going to be a non-functional door. All right, real quick, I cut these down and I used the very heavy sandpaper to just get the backs of them flat. And I actually had this piece on this side, but once I got them cut, I actually saw that I preferred it over here, and I liked this one over here. But the problem is now that they both will sit flat on the door, I need to decide which one to cut because they both sort of cross up here at the top, which I love, but if I actually make them cross, then they're not flat. So there's kind of no way to do that. And I think the best option is to always, when you are in a dilemma like this, cut the one that has the least integrity. Unless, like, if this one's shape was so fantastic that it determined that I would cut this one off. I don't think it's nice. I don't know that it's that fantastic, is it? Maybe. I guess if I could cut that very precisely, it would, no, well, maybe. All right, I guess so. All right, we will cut this then. No, I'm gonna cut that one, because I really like how nice and flat this one sits. And I think that that helps the piece to actually work better. So I'm going to cut this little piece off here. And I'm going to try as best I can to match it up with that piece of wood. So it looks like it goes right there. And you can always take more off, so I'm going to cut it a little larger than what I think. Okay, that is pretty good. Well, here comes the wind again. Oh my goodness. All right. I think that is going to work just perfectly. I do need to cut it a bit more so that I can angle this in. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit more. Just take it bit by bit like this, because you can always take more off. But obviously, if I cut it back here, then the whole piece is not going to work for this door. So keep that in mind. You may have to cut several times, but that way you're not making a mistake of cutting too much wood. Okay, I am so super pleased. And like I said, I had to do a couple of cuts, but look at how this comes out. Super cute. Oh my goodness. Yes, look at that. I love it. And it looks like it was just meant to go together. You know, this is really calling to me for some embossing powder. So I've got to keep that in mind. I don't want to varnish this until we get some embossing powder on there. This again is the, what is it? 50 grit sandpaper that I use to take these pieces down. I don't sand on camera because, as you can see, it shakes the heck out of the camera. And if I do it outside, the wind is blowing, or if I do it outside on the belt sander, then I have the generator running because we do not have, sorry, you're going to shake you in a minute. We do not have standard electricity, and I need the generator to run the big power. So that is not so good for filming. So that's why you don't see me doing it. If I could do it kind of quietly, I don't know a whole lot of power tools that are exactly quiet. So probably not the best. A lot of people put music over their videos. I am not a music person. So that's just not my jam. So that's why you don't hear it here. I prefer to just have me talking or to just have it quiet. Well, except for the wind blowing. Okay, now this piece needs to get out of the way. So we are doing this in the center and these two on the sides. Gosh, I almost think that the embossing powder should be done prior to gluing, because then we could get it on there really easily and not worry about it. I kept these other little butterfly pieces in case I might wanted to change my mind on there. It's possible. I could change my mind. But no. Well, look, I could. Look, this little butterfly is super cute like that. And we could put these little pieces. It's just another option. I'm always kind of tinkering with things. I'm not solid. Whoa, looks like it's gotten sticks growing out of his head. Nope, 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 nope. All right. Never mind. But I'm willing to keep an open mind. So be open with your pieces as well. If you're like, well, I really love this stone, but this acorn cap might work too. Just keep playing with it, because you never know what you're going to end up with. I mean, I could change my mind and say, you know, I want this teeny tiny little toadstool here. I don't know. You won't be able to create it if you don't give it a try. So have several of your pieces out and experiment. And then when you're really solid, you're ready to glue. Okay. Gluing prior to the embossing powder. All right. I think what we're going to do is wait to glue this, because I want to do some of the embossing powder on this wood. So maybe a little bit of paint first as well. Yes. Let's go get some paint. I would like some blacks on here, and then we can emboss over that. This little guy is super cute. Makes me want to do like a bunch of doors right here. It's just so fun, because this little thing with those little double glass, that would be really cute. Look how cute that would be on another door. Maybe that with some little toadstools growing out of it and some little vines, you know, kind of like this door, have some little vines coming out of there and a little toadstool. My brain is going crazy. Okay, another door, another day. All right, so today we'll do this. I'm going to get some dark paints, and we will add some darks, and then we get back to the studio. We will put the embossing powder for some nice bright golds or maybe platinum, and then we will glue and varnish. Okay, I have just some very simple little school watercolors, and I happen to know that this black is a very brown black. Perhaps you can kind of see it in there, but it's very dark, and I can kind of mix it with this brown here. And the reason why, you know, why are you using watercolor on wood? It's because it will get into these little crevices here and sort of bleed into the wood itself. And this way it adds that depth without it getting sort of overpowering with the whole coloring. So this way I can get it in there, and then if it's too much or it's too distinct, I just add a little more water, just like that. So this is kind of a trick, because we can do this to add the depth, and then to bring out the highlights in these other raised areas, we can use the embossing powder. And that's not going to sink in or shift or anything, but this will go right into the wood and kind of add that depth that we need. And then the embossing powder, and when you varnish, it all sort of melds together, sort of like, I don't know, a coloration glue. It makes everything flow together very nicely. This is a purpley black. I'm just adding a little in there because that's very deep. And then we can go in here and see how nicely that blends. Now, obviously, this would fade with sunlight and time and everything, but the deal is we are going to use an oil-based spar urethane. And so once this color gets into the wood, and then we do the embossing powder and then varnish, it's not going to fade. It's going to be sealed completely. And the varnish, when you use an oil-based one, actually adds a bit of yellowing color. So it's going to just deepen the whole thing. Look at that. That looks great. I'm so pleased. Just want to get this little crack, a little more oomph right there. Perfect. And then, like I said, once we add our spar urethane, that is going to look fantastic. Okay. So on these little guys, I'm not really sure what to do. Maybe just a little bit of reddish brown in there to kind of add a little depth. And that should do it. I don't want to go too crazy on this part. Maybe on the edges. I want to make sure those edges are nice and dark. The laser usually does leave a dark edge, but sometimes with sanding and stuff, you end up with lightning. That was lightening, not lightning. Lightning in the laser would not be good. Goodness, do you hear the wind? It's just going wild. Wind chimes are going. The blinds are whizzing. Whiz, whiz, whiz. Okay, we just want a little bit of color on this to differentiate it from the door itself, because I don't want it to look like it's, not a different material. Because this door is very light. That's a good idea too. Maybe we will emboss these pieces and I will put on this door actually a spar urethane water-based, which is clear and it does not yellow, and we'll keep this very light, and that way it's going to look very different. All right, I'm changing my mind on this. I'm going to go ahead and darken those up a bit. Cool. See, as you go through the process, you come up with other ideas. So keep that in mind. If you use an oil-based spar urethane, it's going to yellow a little bit, which I like. It darkens the wood and yellows it. But if you use a water-based spar urethane, it does not, and it should not yellow. Now, if you just put it on straight, it will yellow over time. But if you actually seal the door, because it's water-based, water has no color. So it will not yellow if you do a proper pre-treatment. Okay. Yeah, that looks great. Yay. All right. We will come back and do the embossing powder. Okay, we are ready to emboss these outer framing wood pieces. So what I have here is just a little container with a bit of water, and I'm going to mix just some plain school glue in with the water, and then I'm going to apply that onto the wood. The school glue just gives me a little bit of extra time so that I'm not fighting with the water that might evaporate or soak into the wood too quickly. And this way it just gives me a little bit more time, but not so much that it gets gloppy or goopy. Looks like I might need a little bit more than that. But don't go crazy just putting straight glue on there, or wood glue, or Mod Podge, something on there that dries very thickly. I've done that before, and the results are not good. You want your, of course you could use an embossing liquid. I just don't find, myself, I don't really need that particular precise of a product. I suppose if you were doing something that was a bit more finicky, maybe on paper or something, but on the wood, even just straight water works pretty good. But I find that mixing just a little bit of this school glue in there gives me a bit longer so that it doesn't dry too fast. And I just want this on these raised parts of the wood to give a little bit more color to this piece. So I'm just going to go in a few places, and then I can always do more as I want to. Okay. And then you definitely want a piece of like paper under there. An old piece of sort of trash paper will work like this. Make sure it's wet because that's where the embossing powder is going to stick. And I chose a bronze and a, let's see, this is platinum. Maybe we'll start with the platinum. I kind of like that. And you can just shake it on, and it's just going to stick where it's wet. That's the plan anyway. Sometimes it gets a little messy. That's why we have the paper under there, so it can catch it. And you can just tap that off, and you can see that it only sticks where it was wet. There's a little spot there. You can even knock it a bit like that. And then we're going to go ahead. I really want that extra little spot there. Well, we'll come back. Then you can just reuse that bit of embossing powder. That way you don't waste any. And then we're going to go ahead and apply the heat gun. Start with a lower temperature and get it kind of set on there. And then you will be able to see once it really starts to melt. There we go. See if I can get it to go up here a little more. Hopefully it's not too noisy. There, see where it starts to melt in? So beautiful when it really does. Quite hot, but since we're working with larger pieces of wood, you should be okay. If you're working with something really small, you might want to get a pair of tweezers or pliers so that you don't get your fingers burned. So pretty when that starts to melt in there. Isn't that lovely? That was a good color choice, I think. Now, if I would go ahead and keep putting the heat gun on, it would bubble a little bit, and sometimes I like that effect. I just want a little more right here and here and here. Yeah, that looks nice. And like I said, once we put on the varnish, it's going to yellow a bit, and the whole thing is just going to kind of blend really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more right here on this raised spot there. And here. I kind of want to connect these little areas, too, of platinum that didn't really connect. A little there. Maybe a little on the bottom. And that's it. Get our piece of scratch paper here again. Open this up, and then we'll finish up this bottom part. So I want that little connecting area there, and a little there. And as you can see, I'm just kind of pouring it over. You don't have to be super careful because it's only going to stick where it's wet. And then you take your paper and put the excess back in, and you can use that on another project. Really have a good time with this embossing powder. It's been a lot of fun. Okay. right. There, that makes such a nice effect. It looks like it needs a little more heat right there. I'm not sure if I didn't get enough glue on there, but we need to definitely do this section again. The embossing powder just didn't show right here, which is kind of funny. But we'll add a little more water and just hit it again, no problem. Then we'll be able to do this other piece. And then I thought maybe a little bit of like a coppery color. What is this? Just copper. Oh, I opened the wrong one. That's this one for the center. Wrong one. Okay, we're going back to the platinum, but I was kind of thinking of more of a burnished kind of copper in the center for those smaller pieces. I'll show you in just a second. Okay. There we go. It just didn't show on that last one. And now it just popped right out. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. So I'm going to do this next one the same as what I did this one, but these center pieces that I had painted with a little bit of the watercolor. And let's see, which ones did I have? That one. I thought I had one with the, oh, there it is. I thought that these would look nice with a bit of this kind of copper color, just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add those also with a bit of the copper, and I'll do that in fast motion. I found this other little leaf sort of finding, I suppose they call these, jewelry finding maybe. I thought maybe that would look good in there. Not sure. And it kind of takes away. Well, we will save this for another project then. And this is the other one. And then we will be ready to glue. I am going to also, in fast motion, while I do this other embossing, I am going to do the door with a water-based spar urethane because we want this to stay very light. So I will show that on camera and then we'll get on to the gluing. Okay, hopefully you could see on these small ones, I did use a little clamp so that I didn't burn my fingers. Like I mentioned to you, when you do smaller pieces, you may want to use something to hold your item that you are embossing because the heat gun will burn you. It's meant to heat quite quickly and with a very focused heat, and that will obviously burn. Okay, where is my door? There it is. And we are, this is dry to the touch, not super, super crazy. I only put one coat on there. I just wanted to kind of keep the integrity of this color of this door. It's a little damp there, but we just wanted to kind of keep that clarity on this piece. So I think maybe, well, let's do the side pieces first. And then we will go ahead and put those center pieces on. And I want to make sure that the door is covered everywhere, but it also isn't showing anything through this top part. Okay, that looks good right there. We are ready to use, again, the Titebond 3 is always the glue of choice. And hopefully the glue spout will work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Today, we have glue. Okay. Remember to test your doors also anywhere where they are going to hit the ground. You want to make sure it stays level. I think I can use these clamps. Yes. And then we will go to one of these. Perfect. And now we are ready to do this one. Now, once you actually get your wood pieces all ready to glue and clamp on, you may need a little bit of adjusting. This one needs a tiny bit of sanding on this top part in order to make it really fit well. So have your sandpaper nearby in case you need it. And then you can just put your glue on and let these sit. Now this one, as you can see, only has these two surfaces where it's going to hit the door. So you want to make sure those are well applied with glue. You don't want to have the door sort of not sticking. Now look, this is going to kind of stick out on the bottom here. We can always sand that off, but may not need to. I'm not sure. Okay, it's ready for clamping though. I don't think that clamp's going to work. Yeah, we're going to have to sand that down. No big deal. Better to have too much here than not enough. And then you've got a big gap. All right. We're going to let that sit and dry, and then we'll come back and do the centerpieces and the stone. Okay, I think that I can take these clamps off, and then we'll be ready to do this center part. And I think I found some nice stones here that will work for this center part. And then because this is kind of coppery colored that we did with the embossing powder, I thought kind of a coppery little stone there. And then I had several little ideas for the doorknob. Maybe this one's kind of black on that side. Maybe if we went kind of this way. Oh, well, that didn't land quite right. Let's see, can it go that way? Yes. That's kind of, hope you can see that color's kind of, has some red in it. It might match with the kind of copper and pink if I can get it to sit in there properly. Like that. It doesn't want to go that way. This needs a doorknob. Maybe this would be better. Kind of a little wood one. That looks nice. All right, so is this one going to be out? I love this little stone. I wish it would work properly. That one's too big. All right, well, it would be this one. It could be this one. Would be, could be. I want it to go on here like this. Like that. And then scoot it over. Does that look right? It actually doesn't. All right, I guess this is it then. Not bad. All right. The stones were pretty, but they do not work. I do like this here. I think that matches well. So let's go ahead and glue these on. And then just like we usually do, I will put the varnish on, and then I will post a finished video and some photos. Now, I am going to do these outer pieces with the spar urethane oil-based. And this middle part, I'm going to keep maybe with the spar urethane that is water-based. That's what I'm thinking, so that it stays lighter. So yes, that's what we're going to do. Do I want this side of the doorknob? Make all your decisions, remember, before you glue, because this wood slice has a little dark spot there. I have to decide if I want that or I don't. I think we'll leave it plain. So that definitely goes with the wood glue. And we're just going to place that right there. Just like that. And then we're going to do, again, the wood glue with these little laser cut pieces that we embossed with the copper. So I'm going to kind of get these ready, and then I'm going to set that large one first and then add these on, because it's kind of tight in there and I don't want to get it placed incorrectly. All right. I want that really to fit nicely up at the top and kind of balanced. And remember, I'm going to sand this down once all of this dries. Prior to varnishing, I'm going to sand this little edge down here because it was a little bit too long. I'm going to scoot that over just a smidge. Well, I think I am anyway. There. Perfect. And there. And, oops. There. So I really want all of that to kind of have the same kind of angle on both those sides. Does that look correct? I think so. Press everything down. And if you have any glue that sticks out, always have your handy dandy toothpick ready to go. You can kind of clean up a bit so that it doesn't have that glue sticking out. The Titebond 3 will leave a bit of a yellowish mark, so you don't want that. Okay, and now we're going to put this piece on top of there, I think. This way. Yes. This needs E6000, which I have here somewhere. Okay. All right, we're going this way, correct? Yes. All right. I need my toothpick again because glue always gums up. That's what it likes to do. There we go. Okay. I'm going to be very generous with this E6000 because this, I think it's a shell actually, and it's kind of concave here, and I don't want to have it not stick properly. There. All right, this is going to dry, and then I will sand this down and varnish, and I will show you the completed door at the end. Thank you so, so much for watching. Come back next week, and until then, happy fairy gardening.